It's been 90 days since convicted felon Donald Trump was sworn in for a second term in the Oval Office. And the state of the country is, well, I'll let you be the judge. Overnight, the Supreme Court temporarily blocked the Trump administration's efforts to deport Venezuelan nationals pursuant to the Alien Enemies Act. It's another legal loss for Trump and his administration, which, according to the Institute for Policy Integrity at the NYU School of Law, has an impressive 93% rate of failure. Elon Musk is projecting Doge will come up short by $850 billion on its $1 trillion pledge to reduce the federal budget. Since Trump's inauguration, more than 280,000 federal workers across 27 agencies have been fired, and that doesn't even include the month of April. It's a number only surpassed by the early days of the pandemic. The stock market has lost trillions since Trump unilaterally slapped tariffs on allies and enemies alike, careening the U.S. economy into a trade war with China. There are more than 800 cases of the measles across 25 states. And Trump, who wrote The Art of the Deal and famously promised that he'd end the war within 24 hours of taking office, is now threatening to back out of peace negotiations between Ukraine and Russia because it's taking too long. And don't forget the eggs. The price of eggs is at a record high. It's a new record high, $6.23 per dozen. But Trump says prices are, quote, getting too low for your eggs. This is just a snapshot of the state of our union. But hey, don't worry. Trump is making America great again. Joining me now is Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. She's a member of the House Oversight and Accountability Committees. Congresswoman, it's good to see you. We just got that ruling at 1 a.m. from the United States Supreme Court. The court doubling back on an earlier ruling, giving the administration the go-ahead to deport these individuals. Do you feel hopeful, though, that the courts are trying to rein in Donald Trump? Are we really set in a constitutional crisis now? Because Trump flaunts the fact that he has no intentions of bringing Abrego Garcia back to America. I mean, check out what was posted on X yesterday by the official White House account.
Yeah, Katie, first of all, it's great to see you this morning. Yeah, so first of all, it's great to see you. And one of my colleagues actually put this post up in a group chat, and I was like, okay, this isn't real, right? Because it was just a picture. And then she was like, no, it's absolutely real. And I was like, who are we and where are we living and who is running this country? Because the level of childness that we saw in this post, but also just the level of cruelty and the level of admission that we've seen, right? Like, Katie, you and I both know that ultimately this is not the last that we have seen of this post. This post will most likely show up in some court filing when they are trying to determine whether or not this court has, or I'm sorry, this administration has intentionally decided that it wanted to ignore a court order. This will most likely show up in a contempt hearing. So I don't know why, I don't know who's advising, or I don't know if they really do care. The reason that I was cheering, though, was because of all courts, I cannot imagine that it was anybody on really this court, this particular court, that at 1 a.m. decided that they were going to do right, besides obviously the three that have their heads on correctly. So the fact that this wasn't a 9-0 decision is still very disappointing. But the fact that we got to a 7-2 is a win, especially at 1 in the morning. And essentially what this does is kind of like what Judge Boasberg did when he said, hey, stop, do not deliver those people into El Salvador, turn that plane around. Basically, they're saying that plane better not take off, and we know how y'all like to act. So we will see ultimately what the Supreme Court comes up with, and I'm not necessarily the most hopeful about the Supreme Court, but we also will see how this court decides to act. And I think right now they're trying to figure out, is this a administration that will even ignore our court orders? And I think that may sway how they decide to rule on this particular underlying issue.
And, you know, Maryland Senator Van Hollen just went to El Salvador after meeting with Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He said he thinks that El Salvador was feeling some pressure, and that's why they let him meet with him. But ultimately, Nayib Bukele saying he's going to remain in the custody of El Salvador. We need to see more action, though, from people kind of emulating what we saw from Senator Van Hollen, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So first of all, kudos to Senator Van Hollen. And honestly, that's what it looks like to be an elected representative. He represents Maryland. This is someone who is a Maryland resident, and he decided that he was going to go down there and check on him. And honestly, I don't know that I was convinced that he was alive. I really don't. And so I was happy to see that he was alive, number one. But number two, if Senator Van Hollen can get down there, if the president can get up here and get to the White House, then I don't understand why we can't get Abrego up out of there. I mean, we know that they admitted that they were wrong. Now they're trying to double back and say, well, he's this terrible person and all this kind of stuff. But here's the reality. As far as I'm concerned, he's a lot less criminal than the person that's sitting in the White House. Because last time I checked, he doesn't have any criminal convictions. I don't even think he has any outstanding cases versus the guy that still had cases pending when he was sworn in on January 20th and also has 34 felony convictions. So listen, I don't want to hear anything from the Republican Party about how they're trying to keep us safe when their fearless leader is actually the biggest criminal thus far that we have seen, because I haven't seen anybody with a rap sheet that looks like the president's.
So I want to exercise a point of personal privilege right now. I'm going to play a really quick clip for you, Congresswoman, and ask you a question on the other side. Take a watch and listen. My next guest. Joining me now is Texas State Representative Jasmine Crockett. Representative, so happy to have you here. I know you had a busy day yesterday. Well, Texas State Representative Jasmine Crockett, thank you for being here, and thanks for all of your advocacy. We appreciate it. Okay, that was you and I 3 years ago. That was your first time on the Katie Phang Show. This is the second to the last episode of the show. Congresswoman, I wanted to thank you for always getting up and early and delivering it, but I also want to say thank you for your continuing support for democracy. It's definitely something that you have made your brand, and it's the integrity that you're bringing, and I'm grateful for you always.
We'll miss you.
Oh. You can't have me crying at the beginning of a show, Jasmine. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, you haven't seen the last of me. Thank you for being here and getting us started today. I always appreciate you.